Do you know what keeps a woman awake at night when the years begin to show on her face? When the mirror reflects more lines than she remembers having yesterday? It isn't just the fear of age itself. It's the fear of becoming invisible to the man she loves. Men rarely realize this, but for women, the ticking of time carries a shadow, one that whispers, "Will he still see me? Will he still want me? Or will I slowly fade into the background of his life?" You see, most men think women fear losing beauty. That's only the surface. What she truly fears is losing value in your eyes. And when a woman senses that her worth to you is tied only to her youth, her body, or her charm, she begins to crumble inside. She may still smile, she may still laugh, but deep in her heart, she's wondering if your gaze is wandering, if your patience is thinning, if your love is conditioned by how well she can fight the passing of time. I want you to imagine this for a moment. A woman who once lit up the room with her presence now feels like she's competing with younger faces everywhere she turns. At dinner, she notices your eyes pause just a little too long on a waitress. On the street, she sees your smile stretch wider for a stranger. And though you may mean nothing by it, inside, she feels the terror of replacement, the fear that her years, her sacrifices, and her love will not be enough to keep her secure in your heart. And here is where most men make a devastating mistake. They dismiss this fear. They laugh it off, or they get defensive, saying, "You know I love you. Why are you being insecure?" But what they don't realize is that every time they shrug off her fear, the seed of doubt grows. And with enough time, those doubts become walls. Walls that separate her heart from yours, walls that choke intimacy, walls that lead her to pull away even while she's lying next to you. Now listen carefully. Women do not want to compete with youth. They want to feel chosen despite it. A man over 50 who understands this holds a power few men ever touch. Because when you show her that your respect, your desire, and your devotion grow stronger with time, not weaker, you become the anchor in a storm she thought she had to face alone. But let me also reveal something brutally honest. Women are not naive. She knows you still notice beauty around you. She knows temptation exists. What she craves isn't your blindness, it's your loyalty. She needs to see that after all the years, all the battles, all the ups and downs, you still choose her. That when she fears her age will push you away, you move closer instead. Because here's the truth most men never learn. Women don't need you to solve their fear of aging. They need you to witness it, to hold it with them, to reassure them not with empty compliments but with consistent action. When she sees you investing in her heart, when you look at her with eyes that say, "I see the woman who has walked this life with me, and she is more valuable than ever," you awaken a loyalty, a passion, and a softness in her that no younger woman can ever replicate. And isn't that what you truly want at this stage of life? Not fleeting attraction, not shallow excitement, but a connection so deep it survives every wrinkle, every scar, every year? Because when a woman feels safe from this fear, she becomes more radiant, more giving, and more alive than she's been in decades. And that, my friend, is the secret edge of men who never lose the women they love. There's a truth about women few men over 50 ever get told. As she ages, she does not only fear losing her looks, she fears losing her place in your world. Think about that. A woman can accept gray hair, she can laugh about wrinkles, but what she cannot accept, what crushes her soul, is the sense that she no longer inspires the man she has given her life to. And here's the twist. Most women won't ever admit this out loud. They'll carry it quietly, bury it beneath a smile, mask it with busy routines, or disguise it with a sharp comment when you least expect it. Why? Because admitting this fear feels like weakness. To say, "I'm afraid I'm not enough for you anymore," would be like handing you the very weapon that could hurt her most. So instead, she hides it. And what does hiding fear do? It builds distance. She begins to armor her heart, not because she doesn't love you, but because she's terrified you don't love her the way she needs anymore. This is why some women in their 50s, 60s, even 70s start withdrawing emotionally. She may stop reaching for your hand, she may avoid intimacy, she may even seem colder. But it's not because she doesn't want you, it's because she's scared of rejection, scared of being seen as less desirable, scared that if she opens herself fully again, she might discover that her worst fear is true. Now here's where the real test of a man begins. Any man can love a woman when she's young, flawless, and glowing with fresh beauty. But it takes a rare kind of strength to love a woman deeper as she ages, to make her feel more wanted at 60 than she did at 25. That's not weakness, that's mastery. That's what separates men who create unshakable bonds from men who drift into loneliness later in life. But let me make this brutally clear. This isn't about showering her with flattery. Compliments without conviction are empty. She can smell the difference between words spoken to pacify her and words rooted in truth. What she needs is consistency. If you say she matters, then show her. Show it in the way you listen, the way you defend her in public, the way you still flirt with her when no one's watching, the way you prioritize her in a world filled with distractions. Because here's something you may not realize. When a woman feels invisible in her relationship, it doesn't just wound her, it changes her. She may start chasing validation elsewhere, even if it's subtle. She may begin investing more energy into friendships, hobbies, or causes outside of you. Not because she's lost love for you, but because she's trying to fill a void you may not even see. And if another man, no matter his age, manages to make her feel seen again, that's when the cracks turn into breaks. Now let me ask you this, and I want you to answer honestly in your own heart. When was the last time you looked at her not as your wife, not as your long-term partner, but as a woman? When was the last time your eyes told her, I choose you again, right now, in this moment, with every line on your face and every scar on your soul? If you can't remember, then that silence in your memory is exactly where her fear has been growing. Men over 50 often say, I want peace, I don't want drama. But peace doesn't mean avoidance. True peace in a relationship comes when a woman feels secure enough to put her walls down and love you without holding back. And security comes not from what you provided years ago, but from how you make her feel today. So understand this. Her fear of aging is not a weakness to mock, nor a problem to solve. It is an invitation, a chance for you to step into a deeper kind of masculinity, the kind that reassures not with promises, but with presence. And when you step into that, she will no longer fear growing older. Instead, she will see aging as a journey she gets to share with the one man who still makes her feel alive. There's a secret men rarely realize until it's too late. Women don't just fear aging for themselves, they fear what aging does to your perception of them. Every wrinkle, every gray hair, every subtle change in her body is not just a reminder of time. It's a silent question echoing in her mind. Am I still enough for him? Or is he quietly drifting away, comparing me to women who are younger, brighter, and freer than I am? This fear is powerful because it doesn't strike all at once. It creeps in slowly, like water leaking into the foundation of a house. At first, it's barely noticeable. A small hesitation before she takes off her makeup at night. A playful laugh when she mentions her age but hides a sting behind it. A subtle distance during intimacy, as though part of her is already bracing for rejection. And unless you see it, unless you step in with strength and clarity, those cracks will widen until the very woman who once gave you her whole heart no longer trusts that you want it. Now here's the paradox that almost no man sees. When a woman fears losing your desire, she doesn't always pull closer. Many times she pulls away. She tells herself, if I stop expecting him to want me, maybe it won't hurt as much when he doesn't. So she stops dressing up for you. She stops initiating touch. She stops trying to impress, not because she doesn't care, but because she's terrified of discovering that you no longer do. And this is where men over 50 have an incredible opportunity, a chance to step into a level of influence most younger men can't even imagine. Because when you show a woman that her age makes her more valuable to you, not less, you rewrite the very story running in her head. You turn aging from her greatest fear into her greatest proof that she has won your loyalty. But this requires something deeper than compliments. It requires presence. Do you know what presence feels like to a woman? It's when you look at her, not distracted, not half scrolling through your phone, not nodding absent-mindedly, but with full attention, as though she is the only person who matters in that moment. Presence is when you listen without trying to fix, when you touch her hand, not out of habit, but out of genuine desire, when you choose her company, even when the world is offering you noise and escape. Women can feel presence in their bones, and when she feels it, her fear of aging doesn't just shrink, it transforms. Suddenly, the lines on her face are no longer signs of fading beauty, but proof of the journey you've shared together. Suddenly, the years don't feel like loss, they feel like victory. She begins to believe, if after all this time he still chooses me, maybe I am not fading. Maybe I am becoming more. But let me warn you, if you ignore this, if you let her fear grow unchecked, the consequences are silent but devastating. She may stay with you physically, but emotionally she begins to detach. She builds a world where she doesn't rely on your validation, where she stops expecting passion, where she accepts a version of love that is practical but hollow. And for a man, there is no greater tragedy than lying beside a woman who has already decided in her heart that she is alone. So I challenge you, ask yourself, when was the last time you made her feel like the most captivating woman in the room? When was the last time you admired her not just for what she does for you, but for who she is? Because here's the truth. Youth may catch a man's eye, but depth keeps his soul. And depth is only revealed in a woman who feels safe enough to stop hiding her fear. Men who master this don't just keep their relationships alive, they ignite them. They turn their partners into women who bloom in their later years, women who walk with confidence because they know they are still desired, still chosen, still the one. And when you give her that, you don't just calm her fear of aging, you create a love that outlives age itself. There's a moment in every long-term relationship where the years begin to show, not just in your bodies, but in your connection. For women, this moment can feel like a silent earthquake. She begins to notice younger women around you, on TV, in the grocery store, at family gatherings, and even if you never say a word, she wonders, is he comparing me? Does he look at them and then see all the ways I've changed? Here's what you need to understand. Her fear of aging is not vanity, it's vulnerability. Women are wired to nurture, to give, to create beauty around them. So when she feels time stripping away the version of herself she once believed kept you captivated, she's left asking, what do I have left that makes him stay? And if you don't step in to answer that question with your presence, your loyalty, and your devotion, the silence will answer it for her. This is why so many men lose the spark in their marriages without ever intending to. They think, I'm here, I provide, I'm loyal. That should be enough. But for a woman, love is not just about provision, it's about passion, attention, affirmation. She needs to know not just that you're still there, but that you still want to be there. That after all the years, all the storms, and all the struggles, she is still the woman who can capture your eyes, your mind, and your heart. And here's the devastating truth. When she doesn't feel this, she begins to rewrite her story. She tells herself, he stays because it's convenient. He stays because it's comfortable. But he doesn't stay because I ignite him anymore. And that belief is like poison. It drains her energy, it steals her confidence, and it kills her softness. The very qualities you once fell in love with begin to fade, not because she's lost them, but because she believes they no longer matter to you. But imagine the opposite. Imagine her at 60, 70, even 80, still glowing, still laughing, still carrying a fire in her eyes. Do you know what keeps that fire alive? Not creams, not surgery, not desperate attempts to hold back time. It's the certainty that the man she loves still sees her as irreplaceable. That when she looks into your eyes, she doesn't see tolerance, she sees desire, she sees gratitude, she sees a man who is not just enduring her age, but cherishing it. And here's the part most men never hear. A woman who feels truly secure in your love will give back to you in ways younger women simply cannot. She will love with depth, she will honor your efforts, she will stand by you in storms because she knows you've stood by her. Her affection becomes richer, her loyalty becomes unshakable, her intimacy becomes more profound, because once her fear of aging is silenced, her entire being becomes free to love without restraint. But if you ignore this, if you let her drift into quiet insecurity, then don't be surprised when distance grows. Don't be shocked if she stops reaching for your hand, stops looking at you with admiration, stops fighting for the connection. Because deep inside, she'll already believe that she's lost you, not to another woman, but to indifference. And that, more than anything, is what breaks a woman's spirit. So I ask you this, will you be the man who lets her fade away under the weight of silent fears? Or will you be the man who proves every day that her years have not diminished her worth, but magnified it? Because that choice is in your hands. You can either feed her insecurity by neglect, or you can destroy it with devotion. And the man who chooses devotion doesn't just keep his relationship alive. He builds a love story that younger couples envy, but rarely achieve. And let me tell you something. When a woman knows, without doubt, that she is still wanted, she becomes unstoppable. She laughs louder, she loves harder, she walks taller, and every single day, she looks at you not with fear, but with gratitude that she gets to grow old with a man who still makes her feel like the most extraordinary woman in the room. At the heart of it all, a woman's greatest fear about aging in love is not about wrinkles, not about silver hair, not even about slowing down. Her true fear is disappearing in the eyes of the man she devoted her life to. And for you, as a man over 50, this is where your power truly lies. Because you have the choice to either let her fade into quiet insecurity or lift her higher than she has ever been. Think about it. You've lived decades, faced storms, built memories no one else could understand. That history between you is priceless, but history alone won't keep her heart safe. She needs to see and feel that you still choose her today, not out of habit, but out of desire. When you remind her she's irreplaceable, when you honor her presence, when you look at her as though she is still the woman who makes your heart race, you erase her fears one glance at a time. And the beauty of this truth? When you give her that security, she doesn't just relax, she blooms. She becomes more affectionate, more loyal, more radiant than ever before, because deep down, every woman wants to know one thing. Will I still matter when the years show? And when your answer is yes, not in words, but in action, you unlock a love that time itself cannot break. Now let me ask you, do you believe women fear aging more for themselves or more for how men see them? Share your answer in the comments. And if this spoke to your heart, subscribe and send this to a friend who needs to hear it today.